those cases of just not being able to kick the duvet off this morning, and I've chosen to come down to a place called Elim near the Tide Mill in Southampton to shoot across Southampton Water and have a look, see what I can do with reflections of all the industrial lights across the docks. Well, hi folks, it's turning into quite a nice little morning, bit of colour in the sky. I wanted to do a long exposure here. Only trouble with that at this time of day, long exposures really are long exposures. So I've had to compromise a bit here because f14 we would have been looking at a 32-minute exposure. I've had to borrow a bit of time here and there. I've widened the aperture to f7 or so, and which means I'm not gonna have that kind of sharpness of the depth of field that I would otherwise have liked. And even during this 8 minutes, the light will change quite a bit. But I do have another camera in the bag. I forgot about that. So I'm going to whip the other camera out while this one is doing its countdown. I tell you what, if anyone ever thought that industrial landscapes were boring, just look at this. This is one of those just keep shooting moments. The sky has just exploded. I'm stood in the water now. I was on the bank. I wasn't really happy with the composition, so I decided to come and stand in the water and get the shoreline just coming in from the right that way. It means I've had to wait for the ripples on the surface to settle down again. I'm sorry if I'm not keeping this very in the frame, but I've just got to concentrate on shooting right now. Oh my! The forecast was for grey light today. I'm so glad it was wrong. Look at this. Fantastic. Back the other way again. Wow. It's just like a mill pond out there. There's just no wind to speak of. I'm not able to be really very careful with my crop right now. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do wide angle panorama. I haven't put that in extreme wide angle. We're on about 26mm focal length, because what I found was that with I'm doing these really wide angles with the 16mm lens on a panorama, Lightroom really has trouble trying to deal with that. I need to go back and get my other lens. Okay. What a gorgeous morning. Do you know, I so nearly didn't get out of bed this morning. Well, I would have eventually. Because the forecast was, again, it was just grey. The temptation to just leave the duvet on or stay under the duvet was intense this morning. But I just had this feeling in my water. I really needed to get out today, and I've got to say I'm so glad that I did. On the horizon there's lots of lights just sticking up there, and there's a really amazing view of those when they're all lit up at dusk. If you view it from the right angle, you just see these straight lines of lights, and the sense of perspective of it is just brilliant. So that's a shot I really want to get in my bag. I think I'm going to be really pleased with the shot that I did, or the shots that I did get this morning. There's a couple I think are going to be potentially a bit special. I don't know how the panorama is going to come out. It was a bit of a rush. I'm stood in this squelchy stuff. I was actually in the water, but the tide is clearly receding, and so I'm now not in the water. But my left boot, my left foot is at least 6 inches down in the mud, so it was definitely the right choice to go for the rubber boots. I'm going to extricate myself from the mud, and I'm going to take a little bit of a walking tour down that way. So I was just having a conversation with a lady who's come down to the shoreline just to do a bit of photography with her Nikon 3200, and she was telling me that a seal has begun frequenting the salmon farm just up the way there, just up towards Totton. Apparently there's a salmon farm up there, and or a fishery of some sort, and the local fishermen, not terribly happy about that, because the seal is tucking in, and it's part of this constant conflict, I suppose, isn't it? This balancing act between our needs and those of the animals that we share the planet with. It's a bit of a conundrum. And you see evidence of it here all the time as well. You know, the shoreline is just full of all sorts of litter and debris, and I'm sure quite a lot of that can't be good for the wildlife. I guess before I go any further and call it a day, I ought to check how the sound has been coming out, because I've been using this Rode Video Micro, and I've just assumed so far that it's all been alright, and it may not be. Just walk a little bit further now along this path, not a lot further, down to where those boats are, and see if there's anything down there that I think might be good for a shoot on another day. Well, I finally made it down the foreshore to where some of the boats are moored, some of the yachts, and I'm just thinking this might actually make quite a nice little vantage point at dawn one day. Each time I shift position here, it's kind of like you notice some new little window that is being framed by these tree branches. Cheers. Do you know, I'm really glad I brought a coffee with me.